This is probably the dumbest thing we've ever done on this channel. This truck has effectively a cold air intake. It takes air in from this fender well here, right under here, and this whole fender well is blocked about here with a little wall. It's an extension of the airbox, really, actually. It doesn't really need a cold air intake. What it can do, it can pull water in here, splash water. There's like a little grill under here, and when you're fording the Amazon, well, it can get some water in. So what are we gonna do? We are gonna put a stupid snorkel on this truck. This is from a Lexus GX470. So this is the cheapest piece of junk I found on the Jungle store, and it doesn't quite fit. So the shape of this inside here is not really matching the fender. We'll deal with that. So the other thing here is that the A-pillar is completely different from the Lexus. Here the door gap is at the window, and this door covers the whole friggin' A-pillar. So you can't put it here because the door wouldn't open. So you just have to slide it just enough so the door opens, and there's still no blocking the driver's view. The other thing is that this is a bit short on this side. So the divider wall here inside the fender is right here. We don't want to make a hole behind the divider. So some people extend this because the intake is right here. You would want to go right here. But what I'm thinking is I'm making a hole here, and I'm removing that little plastic wall, moving it back like 3-4 inches. It should work out just fine. The third thing that is completely messed up, and why I think it's the stupidest idea ever. This has a 75 millimeter opening. 75 millimeters. Look at it. There's 75 millimeter opening right here also. What's funny about that is the throttle body in this truck is 87 millimeter. The same with the mass airflow sensor. So if we seal this to the intake, we create a massive choke in the intake, and we are robbing horsepower. So more modifications. This big lower part and this upper pipe is big enough. It has enough cross section. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this bigger. I'm gonna use heat and magic, and I'm gonna cut this guy off, and I'm gonna put a bigger outlet pipe here. Inlet pipe or outlet pipe, whatever it is. And at the same time, because I'm using heat, I'm expanding this concave part, making it pretty much almost flat. I mean, this fender is not quite flat, but it's flatter than this concavity. So that's another thing to happen. The 21st thing about this is this. So if I put it like so, you can see where these bolt holes are. Here, the battery is here. If I remove it, I could make holes on the inside wall of this fender well and access the bolt holes that way. Here, this is already at the firewall, so that's gonna be a challenge. Or I will need to take this whole fender out and just do it off the vehicle, because then I have access from behind. I can make holes, I can get access to these. But attaching it only from here won't do. It'll tear the whole thing off. Of course, the upper bracket is up here. And how do you put it here? I mean, there's no room between the seal, door seal, and the door frame to put anything there. Maybe there is, I need to check that. But it's most likely impossible to attach it there. So one option is to build an attachment extension metal bracket from all the way from this light down to this level, or something like that. So there's some engineering to do, but that bracket would be long and it would not be sturdy enough at all. So need to figure it out. But there's a lot of minor engineering to do, and there's modification to do. This was $6 to $7, so something ridiculously low. And another option that I have is I just keep it. Whenever I get the Lexus GX470, I'll use this one in that vehicle. I doubt this is big enough for Lexus throttle body either. But then the 15th option is that I put it just for decoration. I'll make a hole. I'll leave the lower grill open there, so I let it breathe from here, and this is just, you know, for additional airflow and for the good looks. Man, when you have this in your truck, it's like you're in the Amazon doing camel trophy. Can you think of anything manlier than a snorkel? I can, but can you? I have this butt plug, aka exhaust expander, in here. I have dipped this first in hot water to melt it more, soften the plastic more evenly. Gotta be really careful with this because this plastic will actually start melting just like that. It would be much easier to just put it in a vise, but I wanted to do it outside because it's so nice weather. And it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. So it became a little angular, so I sleeved it. All right, 87 millimeters, just like the gypsy woman said. This outlet is also too small by 10 millimeters, so I'm gonna cut it off and replace it. Yeah, here's the whole thing. Now the whole thing is cut, I can get a better idea of the fit. So there is some massaging to do to reduce the gaps. It will have to lie on that fender flare a little bit, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. Up here, yeah, back here there's a gap. So I'll see if I can modify this plastic and how much. I made this relief cut here on the bottom. Now you probably think this whole thing is destroyed, but trust me, it's only partially destroyed. Alright, it's starting to kind of fit. The gap is okay except here in the front. So instead of bringing it closer to the fender, I think I'm gonna just fill this gap. I'm gonna plastic weld it back on, which is basically just using an old soldering iron to melt the plastic. I tested another piece of this plastic, it's weldable and it'll be fine. The trick with plastic welding is the same as regular metal welding, that you gotta remember to melt the base material. It needs penetration, that's what it needs. And now it certainly is ruined, isn't it? Well, let's see about that. The thing about plastic, it is plastique. I buttered it a little bit with a heat gun. Heat is what makes plastic plastique. Now I'm gonna file it down. After spending a couple of minutes with the file, it looks fine. And the filing, of course, you lose the texture and the sheen. The sheen is easy to bring back. Just use all the heat. I might bodywork and paint it if I feel like it, but I don't know. Okay, the sheen is back and a little bit of texture also. I am checking if this is actually visible. Should I keep on working it, or is this good enough for my purposes? It's on the bottom side, so I don't think anybody's gonna look at it. It couldn't be more perfect. I built a little wall here. I'm gonna weld it in. Okay, so what about this gap? Well, I'm gonna leave it in there and make it look like it's there on purpose. You know, it's just a seam. I'm just gonna make it a little prettier. The thing about this is that there's no filler plastic that I can make look good. I would need to bodywork and paint it if I would want to close this gap here. And with a little heat gun action, it looks sweet. It's perfect. Couldn't be more perfect. Right. So this thing it's fitting pretty okay now. Now the next problem is, of course, because I expanded this scoop doesn't fit anymore. So the scoop has to be expanded also. Let me get to that next. This is probably really easy. Unless I just melt it down and then I destroy the whole part.
Deadly snorkel.
Yeah, there it is. I still don't know if I'm gonna go through with this. Because making the commitment means making a hole in the fender, and if I don't like it, then I have a hole in the fender. Although, I mean, if you're wondering why would I do this, why would I put a hole in a perfectly good fender, this truck would be in a crusher if I didn't use it for off-roading. So this is a crusher Avalanche, so basically little value was lost whatever I do with this truck. So there. For the A-pillar bracketry, I decided to go this way. So I'm putting this bracket between the weather strips, and I need to adjust a bit. There's the window plastic strip here, channel. I'm putting it on top of it because I still need that channel to lead the water away. So I'm not cutting into that plastic. But what I'm going to do is I go and drill some nutserts here in the A-pillar. The reason why I'm not using the rivets that came with this kit is because this windshield needs to be removable. So to remove the windshield, you need to remove the weather stripping, and so if I attach the bracketry with screws, this is removable still. Okay, let me do some measurements and cut some metal and drill some holes and see what happens. I'm using the scientific method to pick the right size nutsert in the bolt, and the method is I need to have a bolt that is low enough that it doesn't completely destroy the weather stripping, and I have a drill bit that I can use to drill that nutsert in, and I have 3 of them total. And what I really wanted to do was to use dome heads. Because they're lower. but I don't have three of the same. First I drilled through this weather strip to mark the holes with the drill bit. Then I drilled pilot holes through the A-pillar. And then I used a bigger drill to put the final holes through the A-pillar. This A-pillar is pretty thick material. And if you wonder if this will weaken it, well, I'm sure it will. So I think we should avoid rollovers. For the nut certs, I use this old bolt and nut trick because I don't have the tool. Put a little bit of blue Loctite underneath and use an impact to drive it like so. I'm holding it like this and I'm running the drill impact to pull it in, and it's done when it's at the correct depth. And then I just remove. I can't film, and I'm using a phone to film, so I can't film and run the impact at the same time, so you will just have to imagine it. It could be tightened a bit more. So I measured the depth with this measuring stick thing, and it's correct. And how I know it's correct is I use this little practice piece and compared. This looks exactly right, and I use this as a reference. This weather stripping has a little bit of space underneath, so it sits perfectly over it. Okay, this is part of R&D, so don't worry about it too much. So these bolt heads are too big. I need to change to dome heads. Well, I didn't have anything smaller in the dome head department, so I used these really wide base bolts from one of the German cars. So, how does it seem? It's bending this a little bit, but I don't think it'll break the glass because the plastic is still in between. Let's see if the door closes. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm putting some sealant here in the nut certs to keep the most of the water out. This kit came with a template for drilling, and I'm not happy with this template at all. So I'm gonna make my own. There's the outline. Since this area is gonna be a little bit less accessible from now on, I took a buffer and polished off the pinstriping. It actually looks pretty okay. I buffed the flare and this area, and I skipped the door. You can see it's terrible, but that will be done another day. It is the moment of truth. Should I or shouldn't I? So once I drill into this fender, I am fully committed. I'll probably make a thorough mess of this sheet metal here. Okay, now I'm committed. Pilot hole. Oops. That didn't work out. Come on. Son of a gun. Ah, son of a gun. Yep. Now, this will be terrible. Nice. Okay, right on the back side of that barrier, which will move, it has been nice, cool in the gang. So if I don't like it, I'll just flange it and zoom it back together. This wall here is, can you see it? It's attached with this knob, which I'll pop out with the hammer. This is how it is. Just piece of plastic foamed in. By the time I'm done, I will drill new holes on the bottom there, plug those existing holes, and spray urethane foam from behind. There's a nice access hole I can put the little hose through, and do it from behind, not from this side, so that when the foam inevitably becomes loose, it'll get sucked into the intake. So not that. Now I put pilot holes here. I didn't put it here. I'm not sure how many of these I'm gonna actually use. So there we go. Just fitting. Does this look fine? It's a bit higher than the fender, but it's really hard to make it line up all together completely and perfectly, because it will meet the fender flare. I will probably be satisfied with that. Since this snorkel has to be removable, I had little other options than making access holes on the inside. For bolting it on, I will need to cover those holes, because otherwise they'll take air from the engine bay. So another access I made is here. I got a little notch in this fender above the hood hinge, and I am only using 4 bolts total, because this one is pretty difficult to access, and it's not strictly speaking needed because my bracket is very strong. These holes ended up kind of wonky because I had to adjust. The instructions showed that you should make much bigger holes, but I ended up making smaller holes and just elongating them as I needed. Okay, I have my test fitting done. Spent way too much time on it. I lost a socket, an adapter, and my magnet that I used to fish it out in that wheel well. So now I'm screwed. That's my 13mm somewhere here, and it'll fall off when I'm driving. Well, What are you gonna do? It's a few minutes later. All the test fitting is done. And I'm taking this off for the last time, for the first time. And you can see how easy it is to remove this for the glass guy. So I need to take these this bracket off, replace the dome heads, of course, because I found the smaller ones, and I'll need to take this whole thing off the fender, do all the sealing, put it back on, and then I'm done. I'll put these fasteners securely here on the cowl, and I will not lose them. Done. I'll forget them right here. Maybe I'll get a thing for them. I think this is a much better idea. A magnetic tray. See how easily this one comes off when the hood is attached. So not easy at all. Doing it completely blind. I should have thought about this before. Alright, let me get a different kind of tool. Okay, I didn't have a tool, so I made one. It's so easy. There's nothing to it. Now the interesting thing is, will I get this off without removing the battery? And without shorting the battery? I think I will need to remove that battery. Alright, stay tuned. Now I need to put this, reinstall this divider wall and move it a little bit back. There are holes there on the bottom, which I need to re-drill a little bit further back. So I'll get to it next. I am about to make a discovery here. And here's what I'm discovering. I don't actually need to move it back on the bottom holes. I will just need to make it bend and extend it a bit so that this wall will go in front of this hole. So I'll make it a little, I'll bend it, make a little extension, and make it like curved. Okay, I bent it like a bag hum and made a little extension out of ABS that I'm gonna massage into the right shape. Probably something like this. Okay, if you can see anything through the hole, it fits perfectly. So I have the extension wrapped around using the original attachment holes, and I'm gonna just put a rivet or two through here to make it more rigid, and spray it with the foam. It was a bit of a struggle to get it on, but it's on, and it is not blocking the bolt holes and not blocking anything else. I will still need to scrape off this old urethane from here and put the new one on behind. So I will go through these holes here and spray urethane there. What kind of urethane, you ask? Well, I just use this
Great stuff. I mean, I can't disagree with that. It is great stuff. While the urethane is hardening, I found 3 dome heads, small dome heads for this guy, and I think these will do just fine. There's no binding agreement anymore. The urethane is always messy. I mean, I don't know how to not make it messy, so there's a little spill over here. I will need to carve it out to fit the bolts, and this guy is secure now. There's urethane seeping through at the seams. It seems to be sealing well enough, and I will have only. I have a little bit of mess on this side, but it's gonna be just fine. I have 2 holes. It's a bit more messy here on the inside because of the way it is. So now from here behind, it's all sealed on the inside. I have, you know what? I have only 1 hole to plug here, this one, and then I'll probably tape this one a bit tighter, and then on the bottom, the actual original intake, I will seal that off eventually. Not right now, but I will seal that off. But I was thinking for some reason I need to seal these guys off, but there's no reason to do that. I mean, why would I need to do that? Because that's on the other side, and I have urethane everywhere now, so that's nice. I used my hole making happener to carve enough hole through the urethane, expanded urethane, to get the bolts through. Now what we are missing is something that connects this to that, these holes together, and seals it. And I was thinking of putting back, well, plastic welding back pipe there, but since I'm sealing this fender on the inside, I really have no need to do that. And I started thinking. So I have this toilet flange seal 4-inch seal that I cut a little bit smaller and fit here. And if anything seals the deal, it is the toilet flange seal. So this is probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever done. But if it works, it's not broken. I have another option, of course, the rubber part of the seal. This is not sealing that well. I mean, this would have been perfect if the thing was flush with the fender, but maybe next time. Installing it for the last time, for the first time. This is tricky now, not to drop bolts anywhere. Bolts and nuts. Oh, and this 13mm is not optimal for this job. And I lost the one that is optimal. This is too long. And it'll drop right in, so I need something. I need painter's tape bunched inside this socket. Sometime in the future I'll need to get it out of this socket also. Okay, Now I wanna put some painter's tape here around this. So now there is no way to put fender washers in there anymore on the back bolts, but in the front bolts it's still possible. Well, good news everyone. I found a set of smaller fender washers that will fit through my hole, so I use them. Alright, bolted on the bottom, sealed up, and I'm gonna put this upper bracket on next. I think 2 bolts is enough, because that's all I have. Will it break the glass? Maybe not. Maybe not. I failed to filling these holes, so I did put a plastic piece here, an ABS piece with double-sided tape covering this hole, and that's all there was. Now this airbox is sealed to the fender with this open cell foam. This is not really waterproof, so I'm gonna replace that. What I have going on with this hole here, that was the last hole on this side of the fender. I found a plastic plug for it, and it seals it just fine. And underneath there is this grill, and there are gaps between the headlight area and the fender well. I will need to manufacture something for those. This is how the intake side of the stock airbox looks like. So maybe I will use weather seal. This I think I need two layers of this. The old seal, well, it is just the weather seal, so it comes off easily. I'm wiping this mounting surface clean with rubbing alcohol. It's dusty inside here, as it should be. It's an airbox, and you can see there is a little weep hole on the bottom, and another one here for letting the water out, and I am not gonna plug those. I mean, technically, if you want to make this an Amazon or Congo crossing vehicle, then you might want to do that, but that's not what I'm working on right here. And I believe I will need to put another layer here to fully seal it. Alright, this foam is supposed to expand up to, it's about 1/2 inch, and it's supposed to expand to 1 inch. So 1 inch on this side and another when it expands, so it should give 2 inches. And comparing to the stock one, it's a bit thinner at the moment, so let's see what happens with that. Okay, how's the seal? The seal is actually really good. It's touching all around. It is open cell foam, but it is splash waterproof now. All right, so you watched me handle this thing very roughly and scratching it up to yin yang, and you thought that it's certainly ruined. Well, not so fast. Let's do some body work.
the scratches will all but disappear. And there will be a lot more the first time I'm taking this to the desert. And because of TV magic, that first time has probably already gone. Oh yeah.
The world is hard to see because that stupid snorkel is covering my view.